Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about my origins as a gamer and as a person. We're going to be going way back in time to talk about one of the pivotal events in my life that made me the man that I am today, and that does very much so relate to gaming. It also made me the kind of gamer that I am today. And it's kind of funny how these situations come into your life, because a lot of us have these ideas in our head of who we are and how good we are and how talented we are, and we're always the hero. We can win every fight, you see these videos on public freak out and you think, oh, well, if I was there, I would have dodged that punch and then counterattacked, and if I was playing in the NBA, I would do X, Y, Z, and if it were me, I would do this. And you don't really know what you're going to do until you're put into one of these situations, but my gaming career led me into one of those. And we're going to be going way back in time to about 2002, so about 18 years ago, which will be older than some of you were alive. And during this time, I was just getting into online multiplayer gaming. I'd played like offline games and, just like split screen and stuff forever, but I was just getting into actually competing against real people. And at the time, instead of esports teams, what we had were clans, which were kind of loosely affiliated groups of people or little teams that there was no prize or money, and you would play for your pride. And the bigger clans might have a website and stuff like that. And I was playing primarily on Xbox Live at the time. I'd do a little bit of Rainbow Six Rogue Spear on PC. And I would also do Xbox Live using the exact same name, Drifter, like you see here. And I was the leader of a clan of people in Unreal Championship, which was a spin-off of Unreal Tournament 2000 or 2001, if I'm not mistaken, which is basically the same game, but a few of the characters had abilities. I actually did a video more on this clan and this group of people about a year back. I think I called it 13 versus 31. And I talked about, some of the, less savory things in my past, because we were like an edgy group of kids primarily. I was one of the older ones at the time, but it was a lot of kids that had come together. And what we primarily played was a mode called Survival, which was a series of 1v1s, and if you survive and win, you keep on going. Like, whoever gets 10 kills first is the winner, and when you die, you have to wait in your turn, and that's kind of how we trained. Most of the clan battles weren't CTF or anything objective-oriented, but just team deathmatch, who can kill the other team best. And I ran one of the better clans in that group. We had a pretty good win-loss ratio. We played more matches than almost everybody else. I don't think we were the best clan, but I thought that we were quite good. And one of our secret components was our top slayer, and this guy's name, or his alias, was Cheese, except he spelled it with a Z. It was Cheese with a Z. And he was a very feisty young man who lived in New York City, and he had a lot of colorful opinions, and he had a big ego and a big attitude, and he was kind of an asshole, but he was at least our asshole, right? He was our asshole, and he had more talent for gaming than anybody I have ever seen, and I will say that even of the pro gamers that I've met today, and I've been blessed in my position as a YouTuber and working with COD and this other kind of stuff to have met a ton of professional gamers, and not one of them, I believe, has had the raw skill that this Cheese guy did. This Cheese guy was just born in the wrong generation. If he'd been born 10 years later, I guarantee you he would have been an esports superstar, and you'd all be worshiping this man like he was God. He was talented. He didn't miss. His aim was impeccable. His rocket prediction and projectile tracking was impeccable. His movement was awesome. I won't say that Cheese was particularly smart, but he was smart about the game. The man had a 3rd grade reading level, but he knew everything there was to know about this game, every counter to everything, every best move, every best strategy, everything. So it became an issue within our clan that I was the leader, but he was the most talented player. And it was really hard on him because he had a big ego and he wanted to lead as well. But his personality was flawed. It was primarily self-servicing, his ego, his pride, his everything. And it would have been terrible if I allowed him to become a co-leader or a leader in any capacity, which eventually led to him splitting off of our clan in a very nasty, negative way and kind of doing his own thing. Well, to Cheese, doing his own thing meant making a competing clan, since he was probably maybe the number one player in the entire game, though that's debatable. Dude's insanely talented. He would later go on to play Combat Arms and play the game so well that the developers banned him from hacking, and he convinced the developers to unban him to show that it was really his raw skill. They obliged him. He showed them some things about their game that were broken that they didn't even know, But his ego got in the way, and he got into an argument with the developers and called them several unsavory words and things about their mothers, and he got banned from Combat Arms as well. But backing up, he was trying to form his own clan, but his clan wasn't necessarily designed to win as much as it was designed to punish me, because it hurt his ego that I would not let him lead the clan that I built. It hurt his sense of pride that he couldn't take over what I did, so he had to destroy it. So what he did is he poached a couple of members, and he went out and he recruited people that were roughly counters to me and my team, just people that we had a hard time dealing with, and challenged us to a clan match. I saw this challenge coming in, and I knew that we would lose. I immediately knew that we would lose this match, so I came up with an excuse and said, we can't do it today, but we can do it Friday at blank time. And just buy myself a little bit of time to come up with a plan, which again kind of shows the person that I would later become today, the planner, right? And reluctantly, Cheese agreed. This was still a problem though, because it was considered like ungentlemanly to decline a clan match. You had to play. But I didn't want to play because I knew that this man was better than me. He wasn't just better than me, but he was then better than I am now and better than I will ever be. I don't know if you've ever had this realization in your life when you think you're good at something and then you meet the best person in the world at that thing and you realize the difference, the gap in your skills, how big it is, how magnificent that difference is between you and the best person in the world. And that's the situation that I was fighting. If I had a time machine and I went 10 years back into the past and trained my whole life for this, I might still not be able to beat this man. There's no trick I can learn, no counter I can use, no secret, nothing that will allow me to beat this person. I was still in his league, in a sense. I was a great player at that game, but it's kind of like being maybe the very, very last pick in the NBA draft, rookie player that nobody believes in versus LeBron. And that's kind of the difference that we were on. It was never going to be able to beat that guy. And nobody in my clan could beat him either. Nobody. Not a single one of them. And the team that he recruited was also pretty good. And they could beat my clanmates, and they could not. So I realized I had a problem. I was being forced into an unwinnable battle. I couldn't decline the clan match because I already agreed to it. And if I declined it, my group would fall apart. And this was something that was important to me. This was kind of a not so great time in my life where, to be perfectly honest with all of you here, I didn't have friends. I had very little, almost no friends, loose acquaintances. I was not popular. I was the biggest loser, most hated person in my high school. And my friends, my identity, my group of people, my sense of being, and everything that was important about me all existed online, gaming in this little clan, in this little clan match. And if I were to decline the match, my group would crumble. If I were to lose the match, my group would also still crumble, and I would start losing my friends, and I would lose my own sense of self-identity because I chose to become Drifter instead of Brad, and that's still true of this day. So I had to find a way to win this clan match that I can't win because everybody's so much better than me. And I thought, can I use this counter? Can I use that counter? Can we pick a certain map? Can we do a certain strategy? Can we troll a little bit? And nothing was really going to be good enough. Nothing was going to be good enough to beat this person. No strategy would work if we were playing the same game. So then I had this crazy idea that maybe I shouldn't play that game. Maybe I should break the rules of the game and bend them to my advantage. And I can't do that in such a way that we start turning on crazy modifiers or cheats and stuff. But I started thinking about, instead of necessarily the weaknesses in his playstyle, is Cheese's rockets good? Is his aim that impeccable? Is his movement that great? Or is there something else about this person that I can use to my advantage? And I started thinking about his personality and his egos and his flaws and his attitude and his thirst for revenge. And I realized that bloodlust could be the only thing that lets me win the game. And I came up with a very long-term, unique strategy to defeat Cheese. And it goes something like this. He was in his own server with his own clan, and I would join to play games with him and talk to him because we were still, like, air quotes, friends, associates, whatever. And this clan match wasn't that serious, but it totally was. And I let him beat me for almost a week straight. I didn't let him know that he was beating me, and he would realistically beat me in about 9 out of 10 matches anyway when we played for reals back in the day. but I just let him clobber me and pound me. And he thought that he was just legitimately outskilling me, but I was kind of sizing him up, and I was very gently kind of talking trash and goading him the entire time. I was telling him in a different map, in a different situation, this is going to be different, you're not going to get me, blah, blah, blah. And my goal was to make Cheese focus solely on me, because he didn't care about the rest of the clan. He only cared about me. He wanted to put me down. He wanted to crush me. He wanted to show me who can be a leader and who can't. He wants to break apart me and my identity and everything, and he will go to any lengths to do that. So I made him very much so focus on me. And then the day of the clan match rolls around, and we pick some maps, and we chose to pick the biggest, most open and spacious maps that we could, because the characters that I was going to play were primarily high mobility ones, so I could dodge a lot of stuff. And I had good people on my team, people that I still know and remember to this day, but I knew that they weren't bright lads. If I gave them complicated instructions, they couldn't follow them whatsoever. So instead, I had to lie to them. I had to trick them and give them a simpler lie. And what I did is I told them to leave Cheese to me, that I will single-handedly defeat Cheese, and that your orders are only to fight the other 3 people. Don't fight Cheese unless he's weak or vulnerable or something like that. Just focus on the other 3 people. And also, of course, listen to any commands or calls that I make mid-match. And the idea behind this strategy was that Cheese was only going to focus me anyway. He wasn't going to try to kill anybody in my clan because he didn't care as much about winning as much as he'd make sure I'd had like 2 kills and 40 deaths. But I believed that his ego, his braggadociousness, and his personality would make for poor leadership, and that I could instruct my 3 clan members who were similar in skill to his 3 and guide them and make decisions for them that would be better than he could ever do, especially under pressure. So when the match started, I engaged Cheese, but not to win. I made Cheese fight me in any fight. I wouldn't let him pick on my clanmates, and he only wanted to pick on me anyway. And I used my shield gun, I used my flak around corners, I was bouncing, I was a robot, I was jumping. This is we're playing Unreal, so this is a 3D movement game. We're talking like 100-foot jumps, bouncing off of walls, rocket jumps, kicking around, flying, projectiles, all sorts of crazy weapons. And all I would do is shoot Cheese enough to make him think I was serious, and then start running when he would start shooting me with his rockets. And it was his personal point of pride because he was the best rocket launcher player in the game. And he had actually invented new styles of missile lock-ons, arcing, and combos that other people had never done or replicated before. Very few people could do. And very few people could dodge those either. A lot of these types of attacks were considered undodgeable, cheating, game-breaking ones, but I'd played against them enough to know how to wiggle my way around a lot of it. And it worked perfectly. Cheese chased me all over the map, everywhere, just going balls out, lock-on rockets, regular rockets, just sniper shots, stuff that I could never hope to compete with. And he took himself out of the fight. And what I primarily did is I just ran. I would shoot flak around corners. Even a couple of times I found myself with nothing but a hit scan weapon, so I'd lure him into a hallway where he couldn't dodge and hose him down and make him retreat, but of course he'd come back full force a few seconds later. And we would did this for like 30 minutes straight, and just him chasing me and pounding me and shooting me. And I think I must have killed him like 2 or 3 times, and he probably killed me about 10. So he definitely gave me a horrible KDR and put me in the ground and all this kind of stuff. But the whole time he was chasing me, I was paying attention to the map, I was keeping track of my teammates, and I was giving them commands. I was telling them where to go, who to engage, what to fight, what to do, blah, blah, blah. Cheese is weak, kill him, fight this guy, flank that guy. And I was making sure that my team of 3 was able to fight his team of 3 better. And Cheese was not smart enough, or he did not have the character to give his teammates good commands or good tactical callouts, and instead kind of left them to their own devices while he was fighting me. So my team of 3 beat his team of 3 pretty handedly, even though they were of equal skill levels, because we had better callouts and directions. And the magnitude of that win was much more so than the magnitude of the beating that Cheese gave me. Because the whole time Cheese was doing this, he was ignoring his teammates' plight, he was chasing me around, he was trying to punish me for existing, but he didn't know that's exactly what I wanted him to do. And when all the dust settled, we won the team deathmatch, because the 3 players very much so outperformed the other 3 and more than made up for the difference for the 2 guys that were locked in their own little duel. And Cheese lost. And this was a crushing, horrible defeat for him. He did not take it well. I think he quit the game and went to go play a different game for a while, because it was that brutal for him. And this was the moment that I realized the kind of man that I am and the kind of person that I was going to be at a very fundamental level. I realized, I mean, I was pretty young at the time. I was like a teenager, but I realized that there are some people that will be stronger, smarter, better, more talented than you. There are some people that are geniuses. There are some people that you can't beat, that you could train 100 years every day and they would still clobber you. So the only way to win situations like this is to change the rules of the game, to exploit not skills but personalities, to exploit not tactical advantages but psychological advantages, and to make that work to your favor. And in doing so, I managed to score a massive win, crush my enemy or my nemesis's heart enough to make him quit the game, gain a ton of respect, keep my identity and my friend group, and keep on going and playing. And it was a very pivotal moment for me. It was also a moment that made me really appreciate video games. I'd been playing video games for a very long time, but that moment made me realize that I am a gamer, that I am sort of playing in a digital world connected from the real one, with different stakes, with different rules and realities. And it's kind of like some Ready Player One stuff before it was ahead of its time. But I realized that's who I really was. And I've continued being that person all the way up until today. And guys, that's kind of all for this video. There's no more moral to this story, nothing that continues, you know. I just thought it'd be fun and entertaining and give you some food for thought, a little bit about thinking outside the box. If you enjoyed this kind of video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.